Hey, everybody, welcome back. I got a question for you. Do you know what your cultural values are and why they're so important to growing your business and your team and ultimately your bottom line? If you don't clearly define your values and the way, you build rapport and how you build everything in your business from the beginning, then you're building a business on a very undefined foundation. So if you want to learn a really powerful business micro habit to start this process to make sure you grow this foundation from the beginning to make sure it goes well, then stick around because you're really going to learn a ton from this particular episode with the amazing Jack McCarthy. So, I want to welcome you to the Entrepreneur Expansion Show. This is the first ever gamified show that helps entrepreneurs master their subconscious mind, body, and business by implementing micro habits into their lives in a fun, supportive, action oriented way to create more transformational impact and income. And I really launched this show because how many times have you listened to a podcast or a YouTube show and learned a bunch and did nothing with it? So I hope you get a big ROI on this today. Like I said, we have the epic one and only Jack McCarthy. He is the owner of Vortex Events, which is an event, a virtual event and game design company. And I've had the pleasure of personally working with Jack in a summit I ran, and I hired him and brought him on to help me really make my event extra special and fun and gamify it because the event was called Entrepreneurs. And it was a truly true to life gamified virtual event. And he just brought such an extra exciting fun and flair to it. So I'm just so excited for him to come on and just share some really amazing knowledge. So thank you so much, Jack, for coming on today.
Absolutely. Thank you. Thank you for having me. Oh my gosh, Entrepreneurs was such a blast.
It was so much fun, and it made it something where I had a vision and dream and an idea of how it was going to go. And then you and my friend Katie Sewick brought it to life. And I'm super grateful for that experience. And everybody's feedback was, man, I actually like made it through a summit and watched all the things and I took action. And for all of you that are listening, that was actually the brainchild of this show. So that event, if I hadn't done that with Jack, I wouldn't have thought about how to make this a very action-oriented, gamified show. So thank you, Jack, for helping me bring my vision to life and create this next thing. So here we are.
Yeah, next adventure. That's so the cool thing about being an entrepreneur, right? Is one idea just spirals into the next and spirals into the next, but you're being so
Totally.
intentional about it. So it's cool to see.
100%.
Yeah.
100%. And something that you had shared with me before the show is really talking about the cultural piece within side businesses, right? And whether you're a solopreneur or you're in the process of building your team or you have a team, rapport and culture are just so important. And it sounds like really making sure that your value systems are in place so that everybody kind of has a North Star, something to look towards. Is that correct?
Yeah, totally. And not only are those cultural values so important for you as an entrepreneur, even if you're a solopreneur and being able to establish clearly, hey, these are the values I have for my business and where it fits in with the rest of my life, but also for your team to really get behind what you're doing. If that's a contractor, if that's your first few employees, or if that's your clients too, people want to work
Totally.
with and collaborate and buy from and do business with people that feel are grounded in their cultural
Yeah,
values, and that those values ultimately are also going to keep your business on track and the way you do business on track. Because how many of us early on, we start working on something and it gets away from us, and all of a sudden it's way more stressful, or we just suddenly feel demotivated, or we
totally.
face burnout, or there are so many issues that can crop up that will decrease our ability to be able to go all in when we
Yeah.
feel culturally or our values are disconnected.
Couldn't agree more. And it's interesting working with individuals and CEOs and entrepreneurs. I always am a big fan of helping them understand what their actual personal values are, like who they are, and really understanding the depths of themselves. And I think it's kind of like the business is a an extension of them, right? And so having those values in place is just so important, and it almost communicates that you know what the hell you're doing as well. Like you have some semblance of understanding and you know, conscious awareness and emotional intelligence about what you're really trying to create from a business standpoint, right?
Totally, totally. Yeah. And it helps you not only act with more confidence, but stay on track.
Totally. Yeah. And then you can build things around that. So when it comes to building these value structures or just really understanding what this means, like what's the first step that that somebody would take in order to like even just start to go into this? Because some people could feel like feels like a lot, like I gotta think really deep and my brain hurts and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But that's why I'm excited about this episode I want to be able to give people the first steps of like what this looks like and how to do it.
Totally. And yeah, and with that in mind too, I would tell everybody don't overthink this. You want to keep things simple because if
Yeah.
you let this become too complicated, it's going to be hard to maintain. It's going to get confusing for any of your team members or your clients and people you're communicating with. So it should feel simple. It should feel simplistic in that way. So what I recommend if you don't have business core values already, or if you're not totally sure you're in love with them, is to sit down and just, take a post-it note, take a little stack of post-it notes, and don't let yourself write more than 10 things. But on each post-it note, just write one word that you think might be a good part of your business or something that is a value for you. So for me, for my business, I have integrity is one of them. High standards is another. Innovation, I like doing something new and different. Collaboration, and then passion are my top five. When I was going through this, I wrote a bunch. And if you're having a hard time thinking of things, think of a client or somebody you've worked with that maybe you didn't like, or somebody you didn't hire, or you didn't get along with, and why. So, were they not a team player? Were they not collaborative? Did they not act with integrity? Did they not, were they not able to work independently? And independence needs to be one of your values. So,
Yeah.
oftentimes, the things that we recognize in others that we work with that we don't jive with is a reflection and might be a hidden value for us. So write those all out, and then you're gonna kind of compare and take one post-it note and compare to the other and post a note and say, if I could only have one of these things, which one would I do? And then put the other one aside, and then go through until you've got your top one, and then do the same thing with your next one.
Love it.
And then you want to boil it down to five, and you just want five top max. Ideally, if you feel like you can simplify it down to three, even better. Some
Cool.
people know right off the bat, hey, these are my five, and I can get it down to three. But you really don't want more than that. Then
I
after
love
that,
that. Can you tell me why? Like, why do you think having a smaller amount is better?
so you're going to be one is you're going to be able to remember it. Like
True.
how many people in like 6 months are like, oh
Yeah.
shoot, what are my values? I had 10 of them.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, but because then also when yeah, your mind's in too many places, and it also doesn't show a true reflection of your values. If you say, I have integrity and honesty and being a good person, those are all kind of the same thing. Um,
Totally.
and then that next step would be, what is that what is the way this tangibly shows up in your business? And
Yeah.
then making sure you're focusing on that. If you have too many, it's going to get diluted and they'll start pulling against each other if you have too many. You want to make sure they're gelling together to create a
Totally.
cohesive vision instead of pulling apart.
Yeah, and I always tell my clients too, it's like when you're thinking about your own personal value system, it allows you to make better decisions because you know, like you're like, hey, when I'm about to go do this thing, is this in alignment with my top 1 to 3 values? And if it's not, you know, like for example, self-care is like one of my top values. And if
Mhm.
it's, you know, if I'm at that point where let's say I have to look at it and say, hey, am I going to watch this show or this movie tonight? Is it in alignment with my top values, right? Or have my top values been met? Now I can look at this and make a much more intentional and intelligent and educated decision for my life, right? So it's being the conscious creator, the empowered entrepreneur of your life, right?
Yeah, totally. No, it's a great decision-making tool, especially as you get further down the line. I know for us, like when we're deciding what types of events we want to build, and we could do it this way or that way. Well, okay, let's pull out our values and say, is this innovative? Is this collaborative? Which one is more of those things? Let's do that.
Yeah, I love that. I absolutely love that. Um, So ultimately, folks, what it sounds like, if you make this choice and this decision to take this micro habit on and really go through this process, it's going to be super impactful for you. It's going to be very, very important for you to go through and do this. And it's kind of like one of those things where it sounds like it's you're doing it once, you can always come back to it, right? You're coming back to these, and it can change. I think some people get stuck on, well, if I decide this, then I can't change. They get stuck in the type of
Yeah, totally. No, yeah, it can change. And in fact, I'd say once a quarter, you want to revisit it. So even if it's just a
love it.
10-minute block on your calendar, once a quarter, just to make sure that we want these to stay our company values and we're staying in alignment with them so you don't have mission drift. But once a quarter, I think it's plenty to just kind of revisit with yourself on that.
I love it. So this is a pretty cool one, folks. This is kind of like a slam dunk because you don't have to, this isn't an everyday thing. You're not going through all this stuff. So ultimately, if you feel like this is a micro habit that you want to put into play, you're going to go into the group, type committed, and then go through that process Jack just said, right? Pull out the sticky notes. If you're having trouble brainstorming, pull up some AI, start playing with that, that and going back and forth with it, or a friend or a colleague, right? Going back and forth with them. This isn't something that you have to do alone. And then come up with your top 5 and post them in the comments, right? Below this video or in the group, and let us know what yours are, because it's it's really powerful when this is another cool part about it, is when other people see what yours are, it might jog their memory and give them ideas of what could be theirs. So it's kind of people helping people. Anything else you feel like they would need to add to this, Jack?
Oh, I think that's a great start, and just as you're going through, know that your business values and your personal values may be very similar. You may decide they're a little bit different, where,
Hmm.
for example, self-care is how you want to live your life. And
Yeah,
then
it's totally different.
maybe that shows up as, respect or integrity or a different word that's a little bit different. So they probably will feel similar, but they may not be exactly the same.
Yeah, absolutely. No, I love that. And that's why it's actually good to do both, folks. Today we're focusing on business. You can go back and do that on your own, but it's a good way to start this conversation. I think that it's important for all entrepreneurs to take care of themselves. But that's why we have body habits, and we have health coaches coming on and sharing that type of stuff. But this is a great business structure piece that when you put it into place, it will make a huge difference, and it gets you going on the right track, right? Like your subconscious identity, beliefs, values, and habits in your business dictate how the business grows and runs from here on out. And like Jack said, it's like re-looking at this all the time, because not only do you grow, but your business grows and everything changes, and you may need to come back and take another peek at this and go at this again. And we'd love to hear what your changes are. Um, Anything else you think we need to add to this, Jack? This is great.
Yeah, no, definitely. And then when you're communicating those to your team or your clients,
Yeah.
people know what your values are. And I think that's really shows a sense of authenticity, to your team and gets them motivated behind your vision, and to potential clients or clients so that you know how they can expect to work with you. And that helps keep everybody on track and making business the fun, wonderful thing that you got into it to be in the first place.
I love that. I love that. This is fantastic. Jack, where can they find, other than in my community, where can they find you on the internet that if they are interested in bringing fun and virtual events to their business?
Yeah, definitely. You can check us out at vortexevents.online. You can also find me on LinkedIn, Jack McCarthy, or my company, Vortex Events.
I love it. This is fantastic. Thank you so much for all this. Folks, I'm excited to see what your values are and what you're going to put into play in your business and in your life. And like I always say, we are real humans, folks. Jack is a real human. I'm a real human. If you have questions, if you're wondering, you want insights into this stuff, reach out. We really want to connect and help people. I only bring people on this show that I know are good humans that really genuinely want to care and connect with other people. So message us, connect with us, ask questions. We love to help people. So don't be afraid to do that. And like always, y'all, keep showing up, taking action, and you will get results. Have an awesome day.